Welcome friends, to another Reddit Top Stories video. My name is Daniel. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please smash the subscribe button and click the like button. Also drop your thought in the comment box below this video. Our first story for the day is by Damaber. I'm living on the same street as my mom, but she thinks I'm 20 minutes away. Okay, this is an interesting situation and I sometimes feel a little guilty for it. So, for context, I graduated high school last June when I was 17. I was accepted into a satellite campus of my dream college, go blue beat the Buckeyes, and my mom thinks that I've gone to that city, and that I'm currently living in an apartment there. You know, you think that, given the situation, seems average, right? Allow me to give you some backstory on why that is not the case. My graduation ceremony was June 9, 2020. I was formally recognized as graduated on June 7th. I'd been sneaking out every single night to see my still current boyfriend who lives 6 houses down, at the end of my street, starting May 15, 2020. Just a couple weeks before I graduated. For the summer months, I continued to sneak out to see him. We both pulled a lot of strings to make things work between us, and it has paid off. We are a happy couple goofs. My daily sneaking out streak ended on August 26, 2020. My mom found that I wasn't in the house, but she didn't figure out where I was. It was a rough night. This is the weird bit that makes me grateful for ride or die creative writing friends. So, my original plan was indeed to move to my college city and live at their apartment. I filled out the forms and everything. I made that plan because I was going to reel at the lease and move out, then discreetly move in with my BF. The day I was supposed to move into that apartment, I was notified that my mom's credit score wasn't good enough for them. She's widowed and had been living solely off of survivor's benefit for the last 17 years, which is probably why. I freaked out. The day was September 1st and my BF and I both had planned out every little detail so that I could live with him and be out of my house. My house wasn't abusive, it just wasn't a good place for me to be productive as a student or happy as someone in a secret relationship. In my panic, I managed to devise a super risky plan that would hinge entirely on whether some of my old friends from my dual enrollment classes had a driver's license and a vehicle large enough to carry all my luggage. I called upon a friend from creative writing, let's call her Cynthia, whom I had connected with due to us being discriminated for being Asian. Our conversation basically went like this. Cynthia asked, "Did you just call me?" Me responding, audibly freaking out as quietly as possible, "Yeah. I need to know something real quick." Cynthia, "Yeah. Me. Do you have a driver's license and a car that you can drive?" Cynthia, "Yeah, I do." Me, "What's your car model?" Cynthia, 2014 Ford Focus hatchback. Why? Me, "I need your help getting me out of my house." Cynthia, "I can be there in about 2 hours after my class ends. Just give me the address." Me, "Okay, great." Cynthia, "What's going on though?" Me, even quieter than before. My original plan to get out today flinked cause of my mom's widowed credit score, but I really need a way out. I need you to use those creative writing acting skills to convince my mom that we coincidentally called, and that you want me to be your new roommate, because yours just moved out. Don't go into too much detail obviously, but just sell it enough. Cynthia, "Got it. By the way, I think it's low-key super badass that you're doing this." Me, "Thanks chief. See you in 2. So I had a few things to do. For one, I had to clean up my entire upstairs floor of the house, which at that moment resembled a radioactive disaster zone, and also somehow pack all of my belongings, all in less than 2 hours. Obviously I pulled it off, since I'm typing this now, but I'd like you to know that I had to shove empty bowls and mugs into dressers and put dresses and towels in a chest of drawers, just to make the time limit. When Cynthia got to my house, she sold the act very well. I told my BF that we would rendezvous at a restaurant, so there was no way of my mom spotting us just 6 houses down. My mom was in disbelief of how coincidental the timing was, but since there was nothing to disprove it, she didn't question it. Cynthia, my BF and I all had lunch that basically became dinner since we spent hours there. I gave Cynthia one of my $100 bills as a small token of gratitude for coming in super clutch. When we went back to my BF's house, it was absolutely storming. I probably mildly pissed off my dad, may he rest easy, by doing all that, but it got better over time. In the storm, since there was no feasible way my mom would be out, we rushed all my luggage inside and barely got rained on. It's been 9 months. I went back to my house for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and my birthday, which is 2 days before it, Chinese New Year, Mother's Day, and Memorial Weekend, for the eclipse, and because my father passed Memorial Weekend of 2004, and in about 6 hours, I'm going to visit again, to celebrate my mom finally gathering the courage, to make a very intense traditional Chinese dish to bring honor to her family. In these last 9 months I have had a number of close calls. The most recent was when my jacket zipper snagged on the side door as I was walking out. Right as I got it unstuck, I looked up and saw my mom turning the corner. I bolted back inside, and thanked my dad I missed her that day. That scare probably took 5 years off my lifespan. Anyway, for these last 9 months I've been happily living with my BF. I've devoted my time to helping his family where I can. I was the one that alerted him when his grandpa was screaming for him, the very night before we found him dead the next morning. I helped keep his grandma calm when she was having a stroke to buy him enough time to return to the house and bring her to the hospital. I paid for his grandma's prescriptions when she couldn't take money out of our bank when it was closed for repairs. When I graduate in 4 years, I'll have inherited my trust fund. When that happens, I'll tell my mom where I've really been for my college years and what I've really been doing. I think that what I'm doing now is a lot better than getting a boring part-time job in a college city. At least my dad and my boyfriend's grandpa know that. I hope that when I tell her, she will too. Until then, pretend I really am in that college city making money by helping teachers grade homework. And our next story for the day is by user Melatirida for I cheated in college. Got caught. Lied and said I didn't cheat. My professor told me he would fail me and report me to the board for academic dishonesty. I made up a story about my mother getting killed and he cried and didn't report me. I have no record of academic dishonesty on my transcript. My mother is alive and well. I don't regret lying. The reason why I cheated was because I didn't study as I was working a ton of hours and needed to support myself. My university set students up to cheat. They administer tests where they all look alike for the first page, but pages after the first page ask the exact same questions as the person sitting next to you, and the answer choices are purposefully switched. They keep a track record secretly of where you are seated in the class to know if you got test version A, B, or C. So I completely cheated on a multiple choice finance test from the guy sitting by me. He got an A and I got an F. My professor knew I cheated because all my answers matched his. I have cheated before and got A's, but this time around I had no idea that they had different versions of the test that looked the same. My professor didn't report me to the board for academic dishonesty after I faked this story about how my mother was killed a week before that and how I went insane. I cried hysterically and told him how we buried her 2 days before the test and I was out of it and didn't have time to study, so I did something stupid. He also was crying lol. He said he had to give me an F and had to report me to the board. Or I could withdraw from the class and take a WF, and he would still have to report me, and there would be an asterisk on my transcript saying I cheated. I guess he bought my story because I did a WF, withdrawal with an F, and he never reported me to the board. I never had to go before the student hearing dean's office. There was also never mark of academic dishonesty. A year later, my university offers this new program where you can retake a class and replace the previous grade. I retook that course during an online course from another professor. I got a copy of the answer sheet from someone who worked as a teacher's assistant. I cheated again and this time got an A. I then replaced the previous grade on my transcript with the A, and there's no trace of it as far as it counting toward my GPA. I'm glad I lied. I don't regret cheating either. I just didn't know they had different versions of the test that appeared the same. Life is hard. Why not cheat and lie if it means getting ahead? F that shit. I want a good life. This was almost a decade ago. BTW. Our next story for the day is by Euless Bean Felixity. I think I have a demon with me all the time. I'll preface this by saying yes, I am Christian, but I'm a very skeptical person, and that's why my experiences fuck with me so much. I'm posting this here because my mom already thinks I'm a Luciferian and I don't need her jumping down my throat about how I've let Satan into my heart, or whatever that bullshit's about. I want atheists, other Christians or whoever to give me their opinions on my experiences, be as harsh as you like, but I promise you, what I'm about to say is entirely true. I've had about 3 major encounters with my set demon, and I'll explain each experience. The first happened around 6 years ago. I woke up to tapping on my window. My room's window is connected to another room, it's not facing the outside. The tapping was rhythmic, and I saw a shadow of a hand through my curtain. I was downright terrified, and ran to my sister and parents' rooms, they were all asleep. I woke up my dad, and we went to the window room together. No one was there, at all, and my dad said I was just tired. Experience 2. Happened around 8 months ago. I was in my room, around 6 p.m., and I heard leaves crunching outside my window, and I'll say and I live in the middle of nowhere with no neighbors. I looked outside, and there was a person standing behind an electric pole, staring into my room. I immediately ran to my parents, screaming and crying, and they called the police, but me, being the pathetic little shit I am, begged them to drop it, because I didn't want to waste the police's time. I'm stupid, I know, and that I actually saw nothing, and it was just a tree. Next morning, we looked at the pole, and at the height, where I saw it as, the person would have to be 8 feet tall for me to have seen them. Even I'm doubting myself, but I saw them. I saw their shape, there was a person there and I knew it. Third and last experience thus far, happened only 2 days ago. I had a dream, where something spoke to me. It was a male voice, but it sounded distorted, and really fucked up. It kept saying things like it will be okay, and shit like that, and after it was done speaking the most god-awful high-pitched screech came on. It was if you took someone's voice, and put it at maximum volume, and through 20 voice synthesizers. It was saying something, but I didn't know what. I immediately woke up. No one was awake yet. I still remember the time. It was 6:04 in the morning, and I swear to God I felt something behind me. I felt its body heat, I heard it breathe, I felt its god-awful presence, and when I turned around nothing was there, but I could still feel it. It was the most dreadful feeling I've ever had, and it still scares me, and I still feel it with me sometimes. All this happened in the same room, BTW. Some smaller things, I've seen shadows run by the windows, I've heard phantom boots walking on our deck, my sister has heard it too, my cats act like things are under the door when nothing's there. Just a few days ago my cat refused to be on my bed, she was acting like something was there, she was staring at it. Anyway, that's it. I'd love your opinions on this cause frankly I feel like I'm going insane. If there's any rational way to explain this please tell me, thank you. But with that being said, that's a wrap on another bunch of stories here today as always. If you guys have a favorite video of this bunch, let me know in the comment dome below and why. And if you enjoyed these stories in general hit subscribe to this channel, it mean a lot to me. I make this video daily and it's by far the best way to support my channel, and not matter what you did, whether it's by subscribing, liking or commenting, I just appreciate you guys, and as always I will be back by tomorrow, even with more stories right here on the Reddit Stories channel.